there, this is Gith. Welcome to the updated Arcane guide. This guide covers the changes made to Arcane in the 3.2 and the upcoming 3.3 patches. So, what is Arcane good at? Arcane is good at single target fights, fights with burn phases where everyone needs to get something down quickly, and fights that don't have a lot of movement. What is Arcane not good at? Well, fights with movement, and fights like a noob in Rimron where you have multiple high health targets, because there, Living Bomb really shines. If you want to get the most out of your mage, you will not say, I am an Arcane mage! You will say, I am a raiding mage, and you'll spec appropriately to the fight and know how to play both specs. Arcane doesn't react to procs like Fire does. Instead, you're essentially playing off your mana bar and adjusting what you cast according to your luck with how procs are going. Your basic rotation is 4 Arcane Blasts, followed by a missile barraged Arcane Missiles. AB, 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 M-bar. You have a pretty good chance of getting your missile barrage proc after the 4 ABs. The thing is, it's not a guaranteed chance. Lots of Arcane mages think they should just keep spamming AB at this point, and they're very wrong. That's a good way to let bad luck run you out of mana, and evocation isn't always a DPS gain. If you do nothing but spam AB, you're using 3 times the mana cost to gain what is a very, very marginal DPS increase. While it can be good while your cooldowns are up if you have the mana, it is, in general, a terrible practice. For a new mage, I suggest you start with just a strict 4 AB followed by an Arcane Missiles rotation. Learn what your mana looks like, learn how luck affects it, and then start adding in more proc fishing by casting more 4-stack ABs as you become comfortable with how the fights go. The wise Arcane mage knows when his gem cooldown is up and when his evocation is up, and decides, how aggressively can I play? How many more high mana ABs can I get away with casting? If you're really in a bad place, either due to bad luck, or bad cooldown usage, or even a mana drain, you can start doing that Arcane Missiles cast earlier and earlier. In a worst case, you just alternate AB and AM. It's still a decently high DPS rotation, and it can get you through to the next mana cooldown. Remember, anything is more DPS than doing nothing. Ideally, you hit 0 mana when the boss dies. Anything else was wasted DPS potential. What don't you cast? Arcane Barrage. This spell has no place in your rotation anymore. Forget what you learned in the 308 and 309 patches. Arcane Barrage is just something you use now while moving, or if something's gonna die before your next cast finishes. Do not include it in a standard rotation. Ever. Believe it or not, it's not necessarily good to use evocation. Arcane has great DPS at reasonable mana consumption, a bit better DPS at very high mana consumption, and frankly pretty good DPS at very low mana consumption. And remember, you can still start your evocation in the last second of Icy Veins and gain a hasted evocation. That drops the time cost of evocation down by a lot. Generally, you can't go wrong by just macroing everything together and hitting your macro whenever some cooldown is up. It's not optimal DPS, but is a fine place to start while you're mastering the rest of Arcane. Be careful. If your Arcane Blasts go below 1 second during Lust like mine do, you want to take Icy Veins out of your RAR DPS time macro and hit it on its own. Going over the haste cap is a waste of those wonderful haste buffs you have as a mage. Arcane mage gearing differs a lot from Fire, unfortunately. You only have 175% crit modifier from talents versus Fire's 245%, and you can talent for up to 6% hit, whereas Fire has 0%. Because of the low crit modifier, you also don't like Spirit nearly as much as Fire does, and Fire wasn't Spirit's biggest fan to begin with anyways. Don't ever try to gear for Intellect. The only case where it's worth it is the badge trinket Talisman of Resurgence, and frankly that's more because the caster trinket options are pretty sparse. If you don't have a Scale of Fates, Flare, or Rain, it's worth using. Otherwise, don't give it a second look. Spell Power is still your top DPS stat, but Haste is very good for Arcane, so be free to socket your Reckless gems to get socket bonuses. Arcane has quite a bit of flex in its spec. Unfortunately, I can't cover it in detail due to time constraints in this video, but you'll see on the screen backdrop here lists of optional talents and talents you can consider dropping to get those optional ones. If you go over to Stratfu, you'll see examples of Arcane talent specs there, and I encourage you to look at them in more depth. I'll highlight a few here that need more explanation. Magic Absorption is a pretty unsung talent. It's likely to continue to be a very key talent when you're working on hard modes. Mages have very few abilities to reduce the damage we take, and having around a 15% reduction in magic damage makes life a lot easier for you and for your healers. Incanter's Absorption is a hotly debated talent. It's obviously useful on twins, but outside of that, unless you have a disc priest babysitting you with shields and you can find a way to take damage without having to move to get hit, you may not find it as valuable as you think. Arcane Focus and Element of Precision, the hit talents, are, I think, a bit overrated. Personally, I prefer to run with 4 points in Arcane Stability to reduce my pushback. Gear has so much hit on it anyways that it can be hard to get down low enough to benefit from a full 6% talented hit. And while the 3% mana reduction is nice on Arcane Focus, it's not really make or break. Arcane isn't nearly as mana sensitive as people tend to think it is. In 3.3, Arcane Empowerment will provide the same 3% increase to raid damage that Beastmaster Hunters and Redditans do now. This will be welcome, since it's a pretty rare buff, and Arcane Mages were one of the only specs in the game with no talented raid utility. As far as Glyphs go, there's no choice or debate here. Use these 3. Molten Armor, Arcane Missiles, and Arcane Blast. As an Arcane Mage, you don't need to track Scorch anymore, but you do have 2 new considerations, your mana bar and your AB stack. If you don't already have your mana bar near your central field of view, I would suggest rearranging your UI so it can happen. An Arcane Mage's mana bar is as important as performance as hot streaks are to a Fire Mage. You also need a way to track your AB stacks effectively. Rather than just showing it, I use a power aura setup so it shows me 2 arcane specific things. One, my missile barrage proc, of course, but the other is whether or not my AB stack is at 3 or more. This means that when I'm playing, I see an AB icon pop up when I'm casting my 4th AB. It's a very simple visual cue to say, hey, hit your arcane missiles now! For cooldown tracking, I'm really liking Sexy Cooldowns from Antiarch. It has the same logarithmic cooldown management like Coolline and Forte Warlock do, but allows things like multiple bars and you can track your internal cooldowns and debuffs on your target all at the same time. And that's the basics of Arcane Mage for this last half of Wrath. Some people love Arcane, some people hate it, but the best mages will know how to play both specs and when to use each.